And here we are drawing furries once more because y'all ate that shit up last time, like, Anyway, today's video is going to be on line art and how I do line art. This is probably the easiest part that helps bring forth all the details, in my eyes. It wasn't always like that. You know, the whole why does the sketch look better than the line art? Yeah, that's a real thing and it sucks. Anyway. So I probably always start with lining the body and then going up to the head, a bit like what I've done with this more refined sketch. And so I just want to follow what I've sketched pretty closely, but it doesn't matter if it's not too close. And I can also add in anything I feel will, you know, bring more depth. For that I'm also going to change the opacity, make it real low. Again, I like doing the hands last, and that'll be when I pull out an actual reference, because I feel like sketching over them and then doing the line art obscures them a little bit because they're just so complex. So I just go in there with the line art and do that straight away. I like using this Clip Studio turnip pen, just by the way how it tapers off at the end here. It just makes nice, smooth, rounded line art easier to do. I don't use any other pen, I'm a very basic bitch. And it's what I've grown comfortable using, and like I said in the last video, if you want to step out your comfort zone, go ahead. If you don't and you still make good art, what's the need? There's maybe not as much depth as I would like on this arm, but it'll do. I like adding these like thin lines just to bring out depth, just around other areas that might highlight it. I don't know, it's just a little personal touch, and I feel like for this guy he's a little more brawn. I think it's the right word to use for it. So I feel like it suits him. One thing I do like, and will probably make a new video on in the future, is drawing monsters with far less neat line art, because it looks nicer. It's a monster, it's not meant to be something that's manicured, but can still be elegant and scary. But this is a furry video, this is furries only. So I'm adding in another depth line here where the knee is, just add a little something something. And depending on what kind of digigrade legs I have, it will be, you know, dependent on what level of detail I want to put into them. I'm not drawing the feet again today because I'm lazy and I don't want to be zooming up on some grippers and get people excited. Settle down, settle down. I also add in like subtle hip dips to a lot of my characters, which I didn't know they had an actual name. So you learn something new every day about anatomy. Also, now's my cheesy time to say thank you for all the views in the last video. I really wasn't expecting it to get a lot, I was expecting the usual, maybe like 14. So, very shocked, a little confused, but I appreciate it. Now, the legs. There's a lot going up around here. But I like to add in some detail here, and again, don't know what you call this, but like where the bones are, like the back of an animal's leg that sticks out of this like heel part. I like to add in just a little detail there, maybe a line here. Maybe make that smaller. Yeah, just like barely noticeable. Maybe have a few lines here to show, I don't know, cellulite fat maybe? Just to give it more depth and more realism. but you know, it's still a furry character. You're only gonna get so much realism from it. I also don't mind going in and tidying up any loose line art, but once you've started colouring it, which will be in the next video, it should become less of the focus, but it's still more of a focus than the original sketch. I think my favourite reference for this kind of stuff is looking at other furry artworks, specifically because I don't like looking at people. But at the same time, it comes as a curse and a blessing, because when I have to see someone naked, I don't forget that easily, unfortunately. So it helps me with my anatomy. Let's try use the mesh tool here, see what we can get going. In fact, I'll use it as a rectangle because that's easier to manipulate. Edit, transform, mesh transformation. Let's bring it in a little bit. Ooh, too much. And there we go, I don't have to redraw it. And just reline it slightly. And maybe, I don't know if you can see here, but this line is thicker than this one just by a tiny bit, and that also helps bring depth. Now the head. The head is a very important part, and I maybe wish I went slightly thinner with this brush, but I will make it do because you can do light lines with this brush as well as heavy lines, just depending on how you lean on it. And if I find any difficulty drawing a line, or I think I'm going to have difficulty drawing a line, I will flip the canvas, see if it's any easier. Most of the time it is, sometimes it's not. That's when it sucks. And sometimes, depending on the piece, I will also do the line art in separate layers. It really just depends. So I'm just adding in some of the finer details, and like, if you zoom in closely, that bit there's just got a tiny little dot over the line. That does annoy me slightly, but when you zoom out, you're not going to notice. Nobody's going to notice. Who's going to be zooming in on your art like this, unless they're trying to steal it? In which case, they can get fucked. I love a good eye bag detail. I just want him looking really worn out, like he has been beaten by the tides of the sea. Now, I do think the line art here is a bit too thick for my liking. Most of the line art is almost done. Add detail to the face, the torso. I don't really do too much in the arms because personally the hands speak for themselves. So I've found 2 pictures of hands that meet what I'm looking for, and I've also deleted the layer, this little salmon pink sketch layer, so I'm able to trace them almost directly. I prefer to use pictures that other people have taken and drawn themselves, like this one here, rather than actual hands. But I do recommend, if you can't find the hand position and you have a camera, take the photo yourself and use your own hand as reference. I've done it a few times and it's worked probably better than I expected. I'm also going to use a slightly thinner brush for the hands as well, just because they are so detailed. If they do look a bit funky, the best advice that I can use is people don't typically look at the hands, they're looking at the face of like a character. So if you've got someone who's actively just only looking at the hands, then you got a bit of a freak on your hands. Get it? I would always say don't go hyper realistic for the hands if your style is not going to match that, like I'm trying to do here. I'm just trying to match the simplicity but still the realism of what I have captured in the rest of the drawing. I also tend to make the thumbs thicker. That's just a me thing though. And then I just take these away, and yeah, that's an okay looking hand. Maybe add in a little something here just to show where the wrist meets, or the thumb. Ooh, I'll do it here. Yeah, he's got big flubbery fish hands. It works, it works. Sound like Todd Howard. And moving on to the next one. And if you're drawing furries, a lot of them only have 4 fingers, so I'm just gonna leave him with 4 fingers. I think that just makes my life easier. And yeah, I'm not too happy with that one, but that's what the reference picture is. I feel like that's something that I become critical with over time. If I commission art, I'm gonna be like, wait, that's not right. Or if I'm looking at a reference, I'm like, wait, that's not right either. Hands are just annoying, and you just gotta throw your pen down and be like, okay, that's enough. I'm not drawing a hand for like 30 minutes. Maybe again, if I use our mesh tool, it might be able to solve some problems. See, I think this hand's maybe a bit too far out. So go in, transform the mesh. And for a lovely little bonus, and because I've surprisingly not been recording as long as the other one, I will do this head as well, which I want to put a little more detail in with a larger brush. I'll just use, yeah, I'll use 17 for this. I don't always do this with my sketches or ref sheets, as this one is more akin to. And I haven't really done this pose much, where the head's up really high and you can see the neck and where it connects to the jaw. So this will be fun, especially on a character like this. I'm just adding these little, I don't know how to describe them, like oogie boogie sack lines to like show what way the lips are. Of course this is the top jaw, so it's going upwards. This is the bottom bit. I'd only really recommend that for scaly creatures that aren't meant to look appealing. And of course because this is from below, we're not getting much of this overhang of the eye over here. And depending what mood I'm in, I don't always zoom in closely to my work. It's just when I feel like it, honestly. And I'm not feeling like it right now. Yeah, I think I'm satisfied with that. Again, I don't really draw headshots like this because they don't really suit many characters, but this isn't exactly the handsomest character there is, but I don't know, maybe he's handsome to some of you. And let's just remove the sketches. And yeah, that's how I do line art, and it does look quite, you can see one is skinnier than the others. Right, I've done a little bit of a cheat to make it look slightly better. It needs a little bit of touch up in some areas though. So, just around here where I've cropped it, that looks a lot better, still not perfect. But you get the idea across more realistically. Looking better. Just, you know, do some Jedi mind tricks. You didn't see anything. I'm gonna make this a little bit smaller as well to match the size of the Lineart. And to fit better in with almost the scale of the head. I don't like how I've done the fin on the back of this. He's kind of looking very oogie boogie. And here is a better look at the progress we've made so far. I do kind of wish I gave him a tail, but at the same time he's a weird fish guy. He doesn't need it. He can swim freely. And I'll be using this pufferfish here as a colour reference for the next episode, if there is a next episode. I hope there is. You furries seem to like this. So yeah, until next time, or the next time I upload a video. Sorry this week was a little bit later, I got sidetracked with important things, I'll say that. So see you next time, whenever that is.